So, why shall we study this type of systems? So, what are the points of interest? First of all, how quickly the blood is moving in. If the surrounding tissue is edemous, too much water, the microcirculation is slow. So why is it bad having a slow microcirculation? It's bad because there is no enough oxygen, and also the transport of the waste material is not good. So the velocity is. The second issue, how the microcirculation can react to the environmental or the inner challenges. What does it mean, how to react to the environmental challenges? Let's say hot day. So you have to lose heat because your body is producing a lot of heat. How can we lose this heat? Mainly we lose this heat via radiation. And our skin is capable to sweat, so therefore in day of evaporation. So having a good thermoregulation requires intact microcirculation of the skin. Or something happened, a mosquito bites you. You see that something happens because there is a funny color change, and also it is itching. Because the microcirculation reacts. How? There is, what does it mean, a color change? There is more blood. Why? Because it requires effective defense. The effective defense means that, okay, something foreign material is in your body, block it, block the penetration, try to avoid the harmful influence of this poison. Or with other words, you know that the first cause of the mortality in the world is the cardiovascular diseases. Second is stroke, and in some countries in the third or the second place is the cancer. The cancer is also very, very heavily coupled to microcirculation. Why? Because the cancerous tissue is developing. It requires more blood. So the cancerous tissue is producing some material, some factors, which are generating new and new microvessels. Therefore, one way of effective treatment of the cancer to avoid this new vessel formation, to avoid nutrition supply or blood supply of the new tissue which is growing very quickly. So therefore, angiogenesis and microcirculation are tightly related. Actually, the new blood vessels always start from the capillaries. The capillaries are just starting to sprout, and new blood vessels are formed. But it is not only for the bad, it is also good for the healthy tissue. If you start to do some daily exercise, a few days or weeks later, the density of the microvessels in your muscles is increasing. So therefore, this is a dynamic system which follows us from the very early stage of life till the very end. You see that some people spend time and calculated the number of the capillaries, Some people spend time and estimated the surface area, because through the capillaries, the gas exchange is always via diffusion. And diffusion requires surface. Without surface, there is no effective diffusion. So therefore, I guess that I convince you that this system should be studied, and of course from the very early beginning of the optical methods, the microcirculation was focus of interest because it cannot be visualized by naked eye. So when Leeuwenhoek discovered the microscope, what was the first step? Studied cells, red blood cells moving. It was interesting because it cannot be followed by naked eye. So, this microvascular tree is also focus of interest because not only the velocity of the blood cells, but also the color of the blood cells is important. Why? Because the chromophore of the red blood cells is indicative for the oxygen tension. Oxygen tension because the absorption of the hemoglobin is depending on how much oxygen is bound. Of course, it is obvious. I look at your face. What can I see on your face? The reflected light. The reflected light, which is dependent on the illumination. Here in this room, artificial, partially artificial illumination. Some color is absorbed and some is reflected. And of course, if red is reflected, it means that your face is full of blood. If it is just pale, it means that your facial microcirculation is somehow not in the normal range. So when can it be indicative? It could be indicative even in stressful situations. It can be indicative for many, many stages of mental or physical health. And also we have some crucial organs which very heavily got studied in respect of microcirculation. Of course, we do have so-called vital organs. Vital organs are brain, heart, kidneys. Of course, stomach and liver and everything could be vital organs, but normally the microcirculatory disturbances affect organs which are sensitive to hypoxia, to the inadequate oxygen supply. And the major tissue which is very sensitive is the brain, and also our kidneys is very sensitive to hypoxia. So, few words about the brain. Brain gets about 75 milliliter blood within a minute, and it uses 20% of the oxygen from the body's consumption. So our brain represents about 1 to 2% of the total body weight, and it is using about 20% of the antioxidant. So it is a machine which produces a lot of heat, a lot of water, so therefore the microcirculatory system should transport the excess heat and excess water. So people never think about that the microcirculation of the brain not only helping the good thinking, if it was blocked, within few minutes, too much water would be in the brain, because the oxidation, especially the oxidation of the glucose, produces a lot of water, which is somewhere in the cells, so we have to transport. And also, it is true for the excess heat. So not only the nutritional requirements are important, but also important is type of transport functions, which means that the heat and the water should be transported. Brain tissue is very vulnerable. It's very vulnerable because it doesn't get enough blood. Within few seconds, we lose our consciousness, we faint. And if the recirculation is not starting, the nerve cells can start to die, and after 5, 6 minutes, 10 minutes, it's almost so it is almost hopeless to resuscitate someone because the severe brain damage is very, very problem. So stroke is number 2 in respect to disabilities and death all over the world. So if you look at the picture in Tehran, which was taken during World War II, 3 major people are sitting in a bank. It is a very famous picture when President Roosevelt, Churchill, and Stalin are sitting on the bank. And of course they decided about the future of Europe and so on and so on. But there was a very important common link between 3. All of the 3 died because of the stroke. So therefore, it's something, but not only him. A lot of famous guys died because of stroke. And also, if people don't die, they could have very severe consequences. And also, all of us who is living a long life is prone to be demented. I guess for an intellectual person, maybe the biggest tragedy is being demented. Bright, smart person getting very, very slow and at the beginning just cannot remember things, and later on just existing as a creature without normal brain function. And also, I just like to underline that perinatal asphyxia affects 3-4 babies per 1,000 a year. So during the birth, during the delivery, the baby's brain doesn't get enough oxygen, and therefore they remain handicapped through their life. So therefore, the cerebral microcirculation is in focus, it has a special interest. I've been spending my life with this for 30 years. So what was used before the laser, Doppler or laser technology? As I mentioned, it was possibility, and still it's a huge area, the intravital microscope. You make a microscope, observe the tissue, and see what can be seen. And now more and more advanced technology, 2-photon microscope with confocal microscopy. I guess there will be lectures on these issues, or some But also we had interesting methods, for example, indifferent gas methods. So it is the clearance. You know this term clearance? What would be the clearance? How a system is losing some stimulus which was given. So how do we examine a living system? Which are the major principles? So if for example, if the microcirculatory system is in a stable state, this is the time. This is something, for example, volume in the microcirculatory system. How can we examine this system? We give some stimulus, which could be stimulus from outside, and check how the system is responding, getting a new equilibrium, if it is possible. Of course, there are dynamics like this, dynamics like this, but we analyze this ability, how to reach a new equilibrium. Other way of, so for example, we use in the microcirculation this, we heat the skin, check the blood perfusion. The stimulus is the environmental temperature, which is changing from 30 to 40 degrees centigrade, and check how the system is able to get the new equilibrium. Other way of examining the dynamics of the system. Here is an equilibrium state. We give energy and see how the system is eliminating this energy. How can it be? So, in the inner gaze method, person inhale helium, and it gets in equilibrium in a tissue, any tissue, skin, brain, everything, because our body is not using helium, we don't utilize it, and we put a sensor, which could be a silver sensor, which is sensitive to the helium equilibrium potential, and switch off the helium inhalation and see the dynamics, how it is cleared out from the system. Where the microcirculation is more effective, the clearance is faster. If it is slower, and this method is still used because if we use, for example, radioactive xenon, this radioactive xenon is accumulated, distributed equally in the brain or so. and we switch off the inhalation and see how the radioactivity is changing in time. And of course, the dynamics are or can be followed by this method. So, of course, not only this type of methods can be used checking the microcirculation, we can use, for example, mechanical stimulation, like the ultrasound, and the reflection and the frequency shift of the mechanical waves is also a source of checking what's going on at the level of the microcirculation. Especially, it is used the medium size or the two small vessels, because we will see that the blood velocity is changing from few centimeters per second to few micrometers per second. So if you check that the frequency shift is dependent on the velocity, at the slow motion the frequency shift is not so big, so therefore we have to find some sophisticated methods. Also, there are some organs where the blood vessels can be visualized, and interestingly, these sites where the scattering is not too big. For example, the fingernail. The fingernail is a site which can be studied with capilloscopy, and also, of course, in the ophthalmology, we can check the retina, because the scattering is very small. But in the normal microcirculatory investigations, the capilloscopy is used either at the fingernail or in the sublingual tissue. Sublingual tissue and 510 times magnification is enough to visualize blood vessels like this. And what can we see from a picture like this? Of course, the vessel density, how much? It is indicative for diseases, sometimes too many, sometimes few. The shape of the vessels, how many curves, how are they, the morphology. And it made a huge science, because now we can make some pattern recognition programs to see how many, even the angles are informative, because the sharp angles are not bad, not good for microcirculation. Why? Because interestingly, our body is optimized for many reasons. For example, in the normal circulatory system, almost everywhere the flow is laminar, except few places, for example at the valves in the heart, or the angle is too sharp. So therefore, if there are such changes, there are also warnings, because if the flow is not laminar, what is the consequence? it is turbulent. If it is turbulent, what is the problem with turbulent flow? It's hitting the vessel wall. It's continuously stimulating, either it will grow or just it is damaged. So therefore, sooner or later something bad is happening. So therefore, we can make now objective measurements and objective studies. But imaging when the superficial tissue is relatively thick, skin, we had to find some new method. And this is the laser Doppler flowmetry, which revolutionized the study of the microcirculation. So you got some very compact lectures about lasers, but the main characteristic of the laser is that it is monochromatic, more or less, and also the phase is maintained during the laser illumination. So therefore, if a laser light is directed to an area of tissue, it contact with red blood cells in the target tissue. The light waves are reflected and scattered, and also there is a shift in frequency because this is the Doppler shift. I hope that everyone is familiar with Doppler shift effect, which is. And of course, it could be detected and received by a photodetector. So nowadays, either there's a direct illumination or with a optical fiber. The laser light is directed to the tissue. In this case, this is the skin. We always indicate that this is a hair cell. And the light is reflected, and it is picked up with a receiver and conducted back to the analyzer. So again, what can be analyzed? What is signal of interest? This is the light source. This is the light and tissue interaction, and the backscattered light has some shift in the frequency. This is the intensity, this is the frequency. At the beginning, it is a monochromatic, and of course, if the scattering and the shift is high, it is not monochromatic. So the spectrum of the incident light is more or less, so it is, of course, for parity, lecture is okay, but the spectrum of the scattered light is broader. Of course, not only the frequency change, but also the intensity changes indicated. More light is absorbed. It means that the tissue is not able to reflect as much. And also, there are not only one or two light and red blood cell interaction, but it's a chain. So actually, nowadays, this Monte Carlo simulation method is also used to study the details of the reflection and the frequency change. So therefore, we with this method we can give view and why. Sorry.
I didn't understand why, if cells absorb too much light, where is the problem?
There is no problem, it is also carrying information.
Ah, okay.
So it is not a problem, it is just carrying information. Of course, if it is absorbing more light or less light, the intensity is changing. It means that the volume of the blood in this certain area is changing. And not only the velocity, but also the volume can be changed. So but what is the limitation of this method? For example, I have a surface of my hand, and only one single point or very few points can be studied. And as I mentioned at the beginning, it's a very heterogeneous tissue. So therefore, maybe the information gained from this is quite different from the neighboring points. Why is it good? Because the dynamics can be formed. Before laser Doppler methods, the dynamics were limited because the time was a crucial, time resolution was crucial. So how can we overcome this type of problem that it is a single point measurement? Either we use a full field image. Actually, we don't focus the laser light, but we disperse it. And therefore, this is a bigger area which is reflecting the light. So this is the exact chemical which is carried in the IV, paper of Chola, IV. So this plant which is causing this red color of this is
Poison ivy.
Poison ivy. So it contains this substance which is histamine, and if you inject a small amount of histamine into the skin, what can be observed that it will be elevated microcirculation at a certain degree. Or we use a scanning system. We take advantage that the light can be directed very quickly and start a single point single point measurement, and with a mirror we make a meander and scan enter area. Of course, what is the limitation of this?
The area?
We are bigger the area, the temporal sensitivity is getting less and less. Because it requires time to go through. So therefore, the temporal sensitivity is lost. So I'd like to go now into the details of the brain for many purposes. Because I guess this is the most interesting issue, and this is the vessel content of the brain. It's a human brain.
Is it real?
It was.
I need it.
So what happened to this person? Died. Everyone is going. And resin was injected to the bloodstream, and this resin became solid, and the remaining was digested by enzymes and washed, and this is indicating that our brain is full of blood vessels.
The person died after.
Sorry?
After or before the injection? The person died after or before the injection?
During.
I mean, how can the resin get that deep when the...
Sorry?
How can the resin get that deep when the heart is already not working? Is it just pure diffusion that you can...
No, with the pump.
With a pump?
Yeah. So it of course it requires that the blood coagulation was stopped, and with artificial pump it was changed. And of course this resin is a two-component stuff, and it is always questioned ethically on one hand, on the other hand, a lot of people donate their body for scientific purposes, and they are proud that they help the science. In the brain, the capillary's diameter is 6-7 micrometer, and they are very close to each other. Why are they very close to each other? The capillaries. Why? At the beginning I told you that the major way of the transport is the diffusion. Okay? So therefore diffusion needs a surface on one hand, but the strength of the diffusion is also depending on the
The cells are maybe neurons are really
the gradients, which could be pressure gradient or concentration gradient or so. So therefore, having a good gradient for diffusion, the distances cannot be too much. And also timing. The diffusion is slow, or relatively slow. So therefore, for fast changes, following the fast changes, so you can have a very close to each other system.
Could you give us some numbers in there? So if I pick a random cell in the brain, what is the typical distance between the nearest blood vessel?
They are attaching. So you can tell that maybe 4 nerve cells adjacent to each other have a capillary. By the way, this is not the richest in the whole body. The richest is the heart. In the heart, almost all heart muscle cell has its own capillary. This is my experience as a neuron. So what are the advantages of the laser Doppler method? Highly sensitive. What is the highly sensitive? Any change in intensity or frequency can be. It is responsive to local blood perfusion, and it is easy to use for continuous real-time use. This is the biggest Second issue is it is not invasive. What does it mean not invasive? We illuminate the tissue, we don't harm it. So the energy conveyed is not eating, energy conveyed is not interacting with the tissue.
Because for the brain, there is a bone around.
Yes,
Do you,
yes.
what do you use?
Either you open the skull in neurosurgery, okay, or there are some very thin parts of the bone in the skull which can be transilluminated.
You use infrared light in order to
Yes.
pass.
Yeah, infrared spectroscopy. So it does not disturb the normal physiological state of the microcirculation, and the small dimensions of the probes have enabled it to be employed in experimental and clinical environments. Of course, the brain is funny. Why? Because it is in a closed box. You cannot enter without doing something invasion on one hand. On the other hand, unfortunately, there are many neurosurgeons